I'm Kevin Casey. I'm a professional mixed martial arts fighter. And right now what I'm about to do is issue a warning out to all other competitors.
I don't want overs. I just expect them to happen.
Fatty's gonna fatty is real.
He is terrible!
We gotta know how many wieners are going down these dudes' throats.
I'm gonna go quick because I don't give a fuck about anything that's gonna happen on Saturday.
Hello, boys! We are back with another edition of the MMA Analysis podcast. We are back with a three-man show. It is cold everywhere in this goddamn continent. Wes, I know you've been complaining about the snow and the cold and whatever else that has come with it. How are you otherwise? How is Kentucky basketball? You know, the usual questions.
Yeah, it's freaking cold, dude. Like, seriously, this morning I think our wind chill was like negative 20 Fahrenheit, which is just go fuck yourself weather. You know what I'm saying?
Holy shit, it's warmer here than it is in fucking Louisville.
Yeah, it's some cold ass stuff, man. It's not the minus 60 and shit they were seeing in Minnesota and shit. Chicago having to send subway tracks on fire and shit to have them to defrost them this morning. But yeah, man, it's good times around the Colvin household with the way Kentucky basketball's playing lately. I'm definitely in a better mood when my boys are playing well, and they're looking pretty good, dude. They're looking pretty damn good. I'm a whole lot more optimistic than I was a month ago. So yeah,
things have turned since the great Seton Hall Pirates beat them.
Yeah.
Have they lost since then?
Yeah, we lost a road game to, I want to say it was Auburn or Alabama, like our worst game of the year. I mean, we looked so bad, and then since then it's just a switch flipped.
One-way traffic. When is the big game against Tennessee? Because we know
that is, I believe, next week. Probably a Super Tuesday game, I believe it is. But that's the road game. Time. We got them twice this year. I don't expect us to beat Tennessee on the road. Me personally, I think they might just be the best team in the country, the most complete, best team in the country. I know people will say Duke, but I think Duke they go kind of how their two stars go if they're having a kind of off night. I think Tennessee is just they're loaded top to bottom. Schofield is very good. I mean, Grant Williams is probably. I mean, if it wasn't for Zion, he's playing here.
It's got to be the best front court in college basketball, right?
Yeah, they're really, really good, man. I just think they're more balanced and deeper than Duke is at this point. So, yeah, they're going to be a problem on the road. But I mean, I think if we can split with Tennessee and have a good SEC tournament, we could possibly be fighting for a 2 seed somewhere right in there. And Tardy's going to be great, man. I think there's 5 or 6, maybe 7 legitimate teams.
I mean, I think you have
a shot at it.
You have to look at Duke and Virginia, the ACC. You got Gonzaga out west.
Gonzaga, yeah.
And Kentucky's surging.
Tennessee
as well. I would say Michigan's obviously had a really good year, but
very good.
I'm not sure how good the Big Ten really is. And there's a couple other teams that are really surging. I mean, Marquette's played really well in the Big East, and they have a guy who's 50 points.
Yeah,
so they're pretty interesting. And I mean, I know Kansas has, they've been weird, but I mean, they still have a lot of talent.
They're done. Kansas done. They lost.
So?
Yeah, they're going to have to get.
Michigan State lost one of their best players for the year.
Yeah, I mean that was a massive loss. It changed their entire team. If you watch the Kentucky game, I mean they got killed on the we're one of the best rebounding teams in the country, but I mean we smashed Kansas on the glass, and that team doesn't shoot good enough to not be able to rebound like that. So they're done. I don't think they make any kind of run up. I tell you one really
Carolina.
One really good story about this college basketball season, though, is the dude down there in Kentucky playing at Murray State, man, Baron.
Oh, he's great.
Guy's probably going to be a damn lottery pick now. Literally
lottery pick. He might be top 3.
Yeah,
top 5.
They're talking, man, that he could be up that high.
Murray State, jeez.
Yeah, playing at
Ja Morant. Look at his stats Okay, let me see.
He's incredible. He's had like 40, I think a 50-point game and shit this year, man. The guy is a scoring machine. Hops out the gym.
He's averaging 24 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 10.5 assists a game in college hoops. He's from South Carolina, same state as Zion Williamson's from. So
yeah, he's a freak athlete too. I mean, just the measurables are just insane, man. And it's one of those stories to where a guy has kind of almost like Steph and Davidson and stuff. You just put up such numbers, it doesn't really matter where you're playing at. Yeah,
I mean, you're seeing that in football as well. You see these quarterbacks that don't go to huge schools and they're getting picked. And
but it's different.
Football's a little different because you find a lot of your star football players, they get drafted in like the 4th, 5th, 6th round from schools.
True. Yep.
It's just so many football players out there that it's a little different.
Basketball, you can just identify guys.
Yeah.
Like, they get identified so much earlier, and it's the eye
how
test.
the hell did this guy not get a fucking scholarship to?
I think he had a growth spurt late, so he was a late riser and. Probably, I don't know. Probably wasn't that smart. Came from a small town, not from a traditional hotbed for basketball.
And just think a guy like Anthony Davis was literally a 6'4" point guard his junior year in high school. He grew. He had one scholarship offer from a local school in Chicago. Dude grew 6 inches over summer, had a breakout senior year, was a McDonald's All-American, and is now one of the 5 best players in all of basketball.
He's
you just never know. Oh man, let him and LeBron get together and somehow Kyrie's like hinting that he'll go back and play with LeBron. Man, you put those 3 guys together, that's a challenge to the Warriors, in my opinion. Like, that's a serious challenge to the Warriors.
Kyrie and LeBron again? Oh, stop.
No, seriously, Kyrie's hitting behind the scenes that, like, he had that call with LeBron to where when he said that stuff about the team and they kind of dogged him and when he called him young and they don't know how to win and stuff, and I do, and he called LeBron and apologized, literally said that in front of reporters. Like, I called LeBron and said, I'm sorry for being just pretty much a prick. Like, you were right. He was like, I was a kid. I didn't know what I was talking about. You did, because he knows now. He's the leader now, trying to lead a team. And he's handed it behind the scenes. It's been reported that he would think about going back and playing with LeBron next year. So we'll see. He's probably definitely going to get Ant. Like, Ant's probably definitely going to the Lakers. So LeBron and Anthony Davis is going to be just, wow. That's going to be fun to watch, Dave.
Question is, who are they going to play with is the question. But we'll see.
Yeah, you need a third. You need a third superstar.
Yeah, third man, as they say.
But they're going after Kyrie's out there, but it's Kawhi's out there. I mean, there's some guys coming free agent. Your boy, the knockdown guy on the Warriors.
Clay.
Clay wants to go.
That's my boy.
I mean, could you imagine Clay shooting shots outside of Davis and LeBron? And Clay wants to go to the Lakers. I mean,
his father played for the Lakers.
Yep. So you could put. I think Kyrie's better there because he could handle the ball for him. But I mean, you put Clay with Ant and LeBron shooting those. I mean, come on, man. That's a good team, dude. You got to get something together to compete with probably the greatest team of all time. I mean, that Warriors team is just that's insanity. I mean, that team is just insane, man.
Yeah, but who knows who's going to leave, though? I mean, there's talk. I mean, a lot of talk.
KD's.
It's definitely the last. I think it's the last year the whole band is together. I mean,
yeah, because KD's probably gone. KD's going to probably go back east, I think. Y'all might get KD. He might be on y'all's squad there.
It's a weird dynamic. You can't have him and Porzingis together. It doesn't work. But I mean, who knows?
What about would you trade up? Would you trade Porzingis for Davis like right now?
Yeah, because one gets
I hope so. I like
Porzingis. I mean, I don't know. He's been hurt. I mean, he hasn't even played.
Well, I mean,
actually, I'll wait till April though. I don't want to fuck. I don't want to fuck the tank up.
That's been my knock on Davis too. Like I know I've had friends tell me like I said I like Karl Anthony Towns a little more than I like Davis a couple years ago, and people called me crazy. I'm just like, it's the injuries. Like Davis is a little frail, man. The guy gets little nicks and shit where he'll miss 2 or 3 games here, 4 or 5 games there, and you know, still if that guy's healthy, Anthony Davis is legit one of the 5 best players in the entire game. The guy's a freak. Yeah, NBA's interesting, man. There's nice dynamic out there.
And the East is starting to get better. So it's taken. I feel like it's taken 10 years, but the East is finally starting to show some muster.
And then Sean's boys up there fire a GM, but keep like the player development guy or something or some shit. Like, what'd they do now?
Oh, my Oilers?
Yeah, what ended up happening up there?
Yeah, what happened up there?
They fired the general manager and president of hockey operations. He's the same guy. He's just basically ruined our fucking team, and
That's embarrassing.
But the problem is, like, it comes up from higher levels. Like, we're basically the Browns, where like when your owner's a fuckhead and your owner has buddies that he puts in place, like there's just no fixing it. There's just nothing. It's
Jay knows. James Dolan's been that guy for like how much money? He's probably still paying Isaiah Thomas like millions a year.
Don't get me started.
Yeah, it's fucking like they would rather. It seems like they would rather not like winning is not that important to them.
Money.
It's more just
making
like,
a profit.
Well, we got enough money, and I can have my buddies hanging around. Like, it's fucking insane, man.
Some owners literally just want to turn a profit. Like that is some owners in sports. They literally just want to turn a profit. It's a business.
I get that, and that, that's okay. But
winning turns a profit too, though.
That's the thing. Like, it's been told that like every game that you play, like that our hockey team plays in the playoffs, is $1 million.
Yeah. Exactly.
In the owner's pocket. So if that's the case, then you should be fucking trying to win. But instead, he's got his cronies in there and just completely fuck over our team. But not salty or anything.
It's been a while since that team's been relevant.
When you have arguably, one of the generational talent, it sucks to watch it. It sucks to watch it wasted.
And he's a generational talent.
Yeah, like he's 20. I think
he's the best drafted player since.
What was that video of him doing those? I saw of like that. I guess at an All-Star game or something. He's doing that challenge where he did 2 laps around the ring.
Well, yeah, that's the fastest skater. So at the All-Star game, the day before the All-Star actual game, they do it like an All-Star skills competition, and he's won fastest skater 3 straight years.
Yeah, I saw that video a couple weeks ago, dude.
He took it from Hagelin, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he's just it's insane what he can do. And even our other player won this like passing challenge. So we have 2 good players, and then everybody else is just garbage.
Who's the other guy, Hopkins?
No, Leon Draisaitl is this German guy.
What happened to Nugent Hopkins?
He's good too. He's just like he's kind of like a second line player. He's a solid player, just good enough. He's helping out. He's our 3rd best player.
Fine.
Yeah.
All right.
Enough of random sports. I guess we should talk about what
Give
we're here
the people
for.
what they came for.
Met.
Yeah, it was first card on ESPN Plus, man.
Fun stuff.
Yeah, it was. It was a pretty hearty card.
No, it was dog shit.
Well, let's start with the prelims. Chance Rencontre got the year started off with a dog winner, beating Kyle Stewart by rear naked choke. Then Jeff Neal really looked good in a decision win over Bilal Muhammad. And then Dennis Bermudez retired on us, beating Tay Edwards. And I'm trying to think of a guy more hyped and just falling flat in his, entering the UFC on, his first couple fights. And I don't know, this name, he might be right at the top of the list in terms of just, it was a complete miss by everybody. Wes, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I think 6 dogs won on this card. It was very rare. I can't remember. We might only seen that happen a couple times last year, where that many dogs won on a card. It was a wild card. Jeff Neal looked good, man. I like Jeff Neal going into that fight, and I bet Muhammad at dog money. I thought he was going to be a tough out early for Neal, and Jeff Neal looked really good, man, and that guy's got some serious promise, no doubt. And T. Edwards, man, I don't know if there's few people with worse cardio than that dude. Like seriously, there is few fighters, and I don't care how many muscles and shit. There is no damn way a dude should look like that and have cardio that bad. It just seems impossible to me how a guy can be in shape like that. And literally, like 5 minutes, he looked done, like completely done. And good on Bermudez, man. That was a good win to go out on, man. That was pretty cool to see. Most guys just don't know when to call it, and I'm glad Bermudez is gonna take care of himself. And props to him, man. I said it fight night. That guy's given us some really good fights, man. If kind of look back and looked at his record after that fight, and that guy's given us a handful of just crazy memorable fights. So props to Bermudez.
New Sean, one word to describe Tay Edwards.
I would say disappointment.
How about terrible?
That too.
He really is terrible. What a cowardly performance, honestly.
Yeah, I didn't expect too much from him in that matchup. Bermudez is kind of like a tougher guy, and it was kind of a weird matchup for Tay Edwards. I guess they either thought they're like, all right, fuck it, he already got smoked as a huge favorite. We're gonna see if he's actually worth something, or chuck him to the side, and that's what they went with, because Bermudez, he does have those chin issues and those fight IQ issues, but he's still a somewhat talented fighter. And Tay Edwards, that's a tough matchup for your second UFC fight, and he is out of there.
All right, fair enough. Next fight up, televised fights, and I'll start before we get to those fights. I just want to get your guys' opinion on the presentation or just the telecast. Did you notice any differences? Wes, I'll start with you.
No, I don't guess too much. Everything was kind of set up the same. We got some decent pacing when it was on. But when it went back to online, before that they had to kind of get it into the TV portion time frame. But and going off something from that, did y'all see that there's going to be hour earlier start times now?
I love everything about that.
Yeah, so that is outstanding. No more fucking
1:30 a.m. finishes.
Main events.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
Poor bastards out east.
Yeah.
What's wrong with doing it the same way pay-per-view does it with the 12 midnight, fight? Would that be so hard?
I will say though that I'm how Karen Bryant just keeps moving from gig to gig. I'll never understand, man. And I could definitely do with a little less of Helwani at this point. I know Helwani, he's got a lot of good things about him, man, but he just seems like a little sniveling shit, man. Seriously, that dude's always trying to start dumb shit, and I could do with a little less of Helwani, but he's going to be the face of the ESPN coverage. But all in all, it seemed about UFC or the same. There's nothing special about UFC production. There never has been. That's why. The production at last week's Bellator is awesome. Just that little bit of stuff that they do. Y'all's wrestling dude that y'all know, Jake, coming out rap. Just those little things, man. The backboard that they use and shit. Just that little bit of extra production makes it. I mean, it gives it a little. It's almost wrestling WWE type production, and it's good. I like that a little more than just walk them out, play a song, walk them out.
Stale.
You know,
Stale.
Yeah, and that's the same. There's nothing changed about the production. It's the same. I mean, there ain't really much more to say about it.
Okay, fair enough. So, first fight was Corey Sandhagen against something called Mario Bautista. And
Squash.
Wes, we'll go back to you. Sandhagen, first round, easy win. What do you think about Sandhagen?
Yeah, I mean, I know this was a short notice guy. I mean, there's a couple people. I mean, Batista ain't like some horrible guy. I mean, the dude was, 6-0, decent. But man, Sandhagen's good, dude. That guy's pretty damn good. Still really young. Seems like a pretty complete guy too. His mat work is just insane though. But yeah, I'm intrigued. They gotta get some of these guys. You can tell just need a step up. I mean, you don't want to like rush guys too much. I get it. I mean, we've complained about that in the past too. Some guys get rushed too fast. I mean, we talked about Gregor not getting. Gregor's another example of like, this dude's good. You need to get him some comp. I think Sandhagen's another one of those guys. You can just see it. That guy needs to be fighting a little bit better guys and
I mean,
move him
they tried.
up.
I mean, they were matching up against Lineker. It's just shitty.
But that he shouldn't have fought Lineker though. I don't think that's a little too much.
Yeah, it's a bit wild, but whatever.
Yeah,
not much you can do about injuries.
Yeah. Sandhagen's good though. I think that guy's got a bright future, man.
Yep.
Fair enough.
There was a few guys on this card like that.
Next bout up, another guy making his UFC debut, Alonzo Menefield, TKO and Vinicio Moreira. This is one that I circled on this fight card. It was one of my favorite plays. I really like this guy. I'll start again. Actually, I'll start a new show on this time. What'd you think of Menefield? Do you think there's anything there?
There could be a bit, especially in that light heavyweight division. I kind of thought this was going to happen. You had just a tank of a dude going against a jiu-jitsu guy. If he doesn't get you down, you're going to get fucked up, and that's exactly what happened. Hopefully Menefield, they kind of match him up correctly for getting his feet wet, and maybe we can make something of him.
All right, that was quick. All right, Wes. Yeah. Jay was on this one pretty good, man, and that in a pretty shallow division. Who knows, man? That dude's a fucking tank, dude. I mean, we kind of said it on the show. All of us. If this jiu-jitsu guy doesn't get him down, he's in trouble, and he didn't get him down. He was just so slow in comparison. It was like a guy walking in quicksand versus a guy running on
the athleticism was
vast.
Oh, exactly. And this was a gift, all things considered. This one was a little bit of a surprise. And Lipsky, sometimes you just don't know if a fighter is going to show like Menefield did in his debut, or be more like Lipsky and just kind of have a flat performance. But I think Joanne Calderwood's kind of found her own in the women's flyweight division. Beat Lipsky pretty easily, 30-26 on two scorecards and 30-27 on another. I'd like to see the fight with her and I, because I think it would be a good betting opportunity, but I don't know if we're going to get it, right, Wes? Yeah, in this fight, I mean, in hindsight, looking back, man, I mean, Calderwood shouldn't have been a 2-1 dog here. I couldn't bet her, but yeah, she's definitely a different fighter in this weight division. I think we can say that now. So, we'll see what they do. There's just, I don't know. There's not a lot of intriguing fights in some of these women's divisions. So hopefully they get that one. All right. Yeah. You, Sean, any thoughts here? Did you bet an over?
Are you hungry, Jay?
Why?
Because we discussed this on the last podcast, and one of us was going to eat our words about if this was going to go over or not.
Oh,
I don't remember that.
Oh, come on, sir. You even said one of us was going to eat our words. But for, I guess this time...
I honestly don't remember that.
Yeah, I didn't... You get these girls coming from outside the organization. They got a bunch of wins. I know Calderwood's a quitter, but this was definitely an easy over. Too bad the other one didn't end up being. But more on that later.
Yeah.
I think Calderwood and I is probably the fight to make. But then there's some talk about one of them getting the title shot already. I'm like, come on, let's slow our horses. Let them fight each other and prove something to themselves. And then the televised main event, I guess we'll call it the prelim card, which was viewed by around 2 million people. I think it's the highest viewed fights on cable, non-pay-per-view, I guess, since probably the FS1, first day of FS1. So pretty exciting, and fans were treated to a really entertaining matchup. We got a blast from the past. Donald Cerrone, his striking looked as good as ever. It looked really pointed and calculated, and he finished Alexander Hernandez and did so rather impressively. Wes, what did you think here?
Yeah, I mean, I was like wrong, but I was right too, because I liked Hernandez.
Here we go. This sounds very all-time MMA tout Hall of Famer, the Vegas master himself.
I liked Hernandez like a lot of people coming in this fight, but y'all know, and we talked about it in the chat, man. After the weigh-ins, dude, and the size difference that I thought was going to be like, it just wasn't there, man. Cerrone was the bigger guy, dude, and I just started having a feeling, man, that Cowboy was going to show up. I talked on the last show. We talked about motivation with Cowboy and stuff, and I really didn't take into account, man, that maybe a kid changes a man, and that dude is in there to scrap for his kid, man, and it looked like it. And that's before you get into the actual breaking down the fight, man. And I mean, he fucking tooled Hernandez. He tooled that dude. Like that is as good as Cowboy can look, man. Everything was on point. Every single thing about Cowboy in that fight was on point. And, man, when Cowboy's on point, dude, he's still one of the baddest motherfuckers on the planet. I lost some money on that fight, and I'm not mad about it. I'm happy as hell Cowboy won, and he looked great, man. I love seeing Cowboy win. That dude is one of the best fighters that's been in this sport. Just look at his numbers, and there's no arguing that. That dude is one of the best fighters that's ever been in this sport.
That's pretty high praise, Nushan. What do you think?
Yeah, I was completely wrong in this fight, too. I thought Hernandez would be able to get Cerrone down. I was worried that if that wasn't the case, then the striking difference between these two is big. Cerrone looked good. I'm not completely sold that he's back. I think that might have
He's still old. Yeah, he's still old.
And if this is a guy, Hernandez, who's not a upper echelon striker, and you can look really bad against a guy like Cerrone if you can't implement your game plan and get him down. I know Hernandez was able to knock out Dariush and had some success with Ohm, but Cerrone's a different cat. So not completely sold that Cerrone's back, but we'll see what's next. I don't know if it's going to be the McGregor fight or if it's going to be a top 5 lightweight. I guess we'll see, but
he's good at 55, man. Cowboy is definitely better at 55 too than he is. I'd love to see the McGregor fight. I mean, he'd have to stay away from that left hand, but I'm telling you, I think he can give McGregor some problems. I really do. That length can give McGregor some problems.
How long is McGregor off doing rails though?
How long does McGregor stay out of prison for? Yeah. We'll wait though.
Yeah,
we won't put that out there.
Yes, sir.
Then they went back to ESPN Plus. First fight This was interesting. I know Wes wasn't thrilled with how this played out.
I was dog shit on this card. It's the worst card I've had in
it was a rough card.
Glover Teixeira, after being nearly finished by Carl Roberson, gets a takedown, and then once that happened, the fight completely flipped. Won by arm triangle. I mean, the reality is, and I think you guys will agree, is that Roberson's very talented on the feet, but it doesn't have the well-rounded game to potentially challenge too far up the rankings. Wes, I'll let you kind of take it here.
Yeah, and I will give props to our guest last week in Town Master Championship. Had mentioned too that Glover had been, I think you did too, Jay, mentioned Glover's been going for takedowns lately and stuff. He took Serkinov down and stuff. So I didn't think that he would go for as many, but after he got clocked, I mean, he pretty much had to. But man, I thought it was. He had him hurt, dude. But yeah, Roberson is like upper echelon on the feet. Dude literally cannot stop a takedown. You're fucked in this sport if you can't stop it. I don't care how good you can punch. So props to Glover, man. That dude is still fucking garage weight champ. I mean, you can't name me another dude that fights out of a 2-car garage and is as bad as that dude. I've liked Glover for a long time, man. So always happy to see that dude win. He's just an old school brawler, man. That dude always brings it.
That's fair. New Sean.
Yeah, I was kicking myself when it was still Cute Labia versus Glover. I had the sub prop at a really nice number, and then when it switched to this, I was kind of waiting on the number. It comes out as plus 250, and I pass.
He would have got the same sub on him, dude. I'm telling you.
I know, man.
He'd have got the same sub on Cute Labia.
But
yeah, I agree.
What can you do? I thought this was going to happen, didn't fire on it, and it happened anyway. So that was the way my night went. But yeah, Glover's still a tough guy, but like you said, he almost got finished there. So that's always going to be the
His
danger.
Chin's gone.
Yeah, that's going to be always the danger in when he's fighting. If he's going against a striker or something, he could get caught, or he could survive, and then maybe he can get it to the ground and use his really good jiu-jitsu. It's tough.
Next fight up, man.
Ugh.
Where do I go with this one?
Fuck me.
Paige Van Zandt and Rachel Ostovich. All things considered, this had to be one of the worst fights I've seen in the UFC. And
fucking embarrassing.
In a good 12 months. I mean, I don't know how it's hard for me to remember that far beyond that, but this was a dud of a fight. Van Zandt can't stop a takedown. Ostovich scoring them at will, doesn't do anything with it. The first scramble, Van Zandt just completely capitalizes, and the fight flips, and sayonara. Right, Wes? Is that exactly how you saw it too?
Yeah, I mean, look, this is like case in point. Number fucking one of Paige Van Zandt's. I mean, the endorsement she gets, the push she gets, all that shit. She's horrible.
Terrible.
She fucking sucks at fighting, dude. Like, seriously.
They both do.
Yeah, absolutely. But one of them is like one of the most popular fucking fighters out there. Is all over fucking everything.
And the other one's barely 4.
Yeah, straight up, dude. So, yeah, dude, I don't. Give me less of these two, and we're winning. Period.
Yeah. All right. New Sean.
Yeah, I thought I was good with my over in this one. It was looking a little sloppy, but these chicks are terrible, and I didn't think anybody would get caught. And then Ostovich just has to dangle her arm out there and pretty much give Paige Van Zandt the only way she's gonna fucking win. I guess the bright side, maybe get a cheaper number fading Van Zandt in her next fight, because, yeah, like you said, she's fucking terrible.
I'm glad that we all agree on that. Joseph Benavidez and Dustin Ortiz. Well, this was a bit refreshing to get that bad taste out of your mouth.
Nice cleanse.
Yeah.
That third round was an absolute war in terms of scrambles, each trying to take each other to the mat, like different tactics. It was really kind of a masterclass and, kind of a gritty wrestling, not much difference in the striking kind of a fight. And I think the right guy got the decision. Wes, you agree?
That fight was for a mostly grappling, scrambling fight. That's as enjoyable as you can get. I mean, that was fun. I enjoyed that fight. But as usual, we found out that Joseph Benavidez is still there. He only loses to the best guys. Ortiz was the popular fucking, I won't go nerd far, but I saw all kinds of people.
I wouldn't go that far.
I saw tons of people picking Ortiz as a dog here and betting him, and I didn't see it, man. I like I said, me personally completely overplayed the downfall of Joe B after that Pettis loss, and his last two fights, man, he's looked absolutely outstanding. And I mean, if they keep the division around, I mean, I'd love to see if they don't do Cejudo TJ back, I'd love to see Benavidez and Cejudo throw down again, man. I don't know. Maybe Joe B had other shit going on. I don't know. He looked old and slow before those last two fights, but I don't think there's much argument, man, that he looked really, really good in the last two. And Dustin Ortiz was on a run, man, and it's a tough out. And I thought he won that fight fairly easily, personally. But yeah, Joe B overstated his downfall. Dude's still there.
Fair enough. New Sean, any thoughts on Joe B?
Yeah, he was good. I mean, I don't think it was as wide as what Wes is trying to say. I'm pretty sure that was a split. That was a split going into the third,
but he won the but he won the third.
Oh, he won the third, but it was still up for grabs. And I mean, I got Ortiz at plus 250. So if I can get a split going into the third with a plus 250. I don't mind it, but you could still
won 2 rounds.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Like I had no problems with that scorecard. You could still see that Benavidez is still the better wrestler. He was able to take down and hold Ortiz down, and obviously his striking was better. Ortiz has taken some big steps compared to what he was before, but Benavidez is still there. Yeah, I don't know what they do next. There's still no clarity, even after what happened in the main event, which we'll talk about soon.
Yes, we will. Next fight, though, this is maybe nobody surging from nowhere in a more more impactful way, but Grigor Gillespie is basically Habibing people. From an American perspective, he ran through Yancy Medeiros. It actually reminded me a bit of the Koreshkov-Ben Askren fight, where Ben Askren landed like 200-something strikes, and I think Koreshkov landed 2. This was, I think, 57-1. It was demolishing. Medeiros was a way bigger fighter, and it didn't matter because Gillespie took him down at will, and it was a mauling. And Gillespie's realizing he could make money, and then he could run off to the sunset and fish in a couple of years after he makes a few million in this sport, because he's on his way, right? Wes?
Yeah. I mean, the sky's the truth. I mean, there's no getting around that. This guy's the absolute truth.
He's an NCAA champion wrestler.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it, and not just that. He hasn't got on some mitts and fell in love with any kind of hands. The dude goes in there, takes you down, and smashes you.
That's what we talked about before this fight.
You want your money on guys like this. I mean, period. I mean, how many wrestlers we've seen that get in a gym and get on some mitts and want to start fucking testing their hands. And
there was one on the weekend at old Bellator that we know about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Gregor's the shit, man, and they got to push this guy. I mean, I guess you could say, Medeiros was a, big guy, going to be a tough out. No, it wasn't. I mean, this was a fucking mauling, man. Yeah, I like Gregor a lot. Kind of pissed that I didn't get my sub, man, because I really thought he was gonna go for it, but he just ended up dropping some bombs. He said after the fight too that he was gonna get a ground and pound this time. So yeah, I'm big fan. I think we all are, and I'm intrigued to see where he goes, man. 155 is just an insane division, so there's a lot of fights they can make here, and they got to make something big though with Gregor. This guy's got to be pushed.
You're Sean.
Wes, you got to bet sub next time because in his last 5 fights, all finishes, he has alternated KOs and subs.
Yeah.
And,
motherfucker.
Yeah, this dude, he's very, very good. Smart fighter, everything you want. I mean, we talked about it on the last podcast. This was one where we kind of thought he was just going to mash him, and that's what he did. So hopefully he gets a top 12 fight. Is he finally ranked yet, or is that still not a thing because it's like lightweight?
I think he was still outside the top 10 though, wasn't he? He was ranked, but was outside the top 10.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't pay too much attention to rankings personally.
Oh, come on now.
I know. I seriously couldn't tell you half the time.
I'm waiting for it to load. It's being the UFC website. Who would have thunk it is being a piece of shit.
Shocker.
Yeah, that redesign
how can
is kind of trash.
Oh, the redesign is terrible. It really, you can't click. Like, there's no real information.
You eating a fucking burger over there, or what are we doing here?
No, I'm just putting something up.
Gregor is 11th now. He moved up from 15, so he is the 11th ranked.
Yeah, I thought he was.
Who's above him? Who are 8, 9, and
10? James Vick is 10. Cowboy is 9. Anthony Pettis is 8. But Pettis is going to 170 for some fucking reason. So I don't know. James Vick has a fight already.
I mean, if you want to put Cowboy above him based on experience, and he's been fighting at 172, but you can't tell me that Gillespie isn't ahead of Vic and Pettis.
Well,
you cannot tell me that.
After Vic gets flatlined in his next fight again. So
who's he fighting? I forgot.
Ooh, fuck me. Now it's skipped my brain.
It's not Gaethje, is it? Oh, is it Paul Felder?
It is Paul Felder, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be. That'll be fun.
So
where were we? Oh, yeah. Co-main event. Oh, this is disappointing, and this started our losing parlay, which glad the second piece didn't hit it either. I would have been really annoyed.
Yep.
But Greg Hardy and John Jones had one thing, and not the only thing, but they have another thing in common after this fight. Neither has an actual loss due to being beaten, other than when they've beaten themselves.
True.
Greg Hardy dominated Alan Crater. He was taken down briefly, but figured out a way to get back up, better than most heavyweights. Completely dominated the second round until he decided to knee the head of a grounded opponent. Of course, Crowder quit. And Crowder was awarded the win, and therefore bettors got screwed in a fight they shouldn't have gotten. They shouldn't have lost. Wes, thoughts on Hardy? Where do we go from here?
Well, my first thoughts are the absolute fucking douchebags that I saw all over Twitter that was like, oh, this is what I told you. He ain't all that good. And as I saw other people saying, oh, he only threw that knee because he wanted out because he's in a tough fight. Are you fucking stupid? Like, seriously. Okay, guy's in his 4th fight, man. They might have to some people they might have rushed him. He's in a co-main event on ESPN's first card. Me personally, what I take from this fight is the guy showed me like massive improvements in the fight as well. The in-fight adjustments. You talk about getting taken down on his back, and then people was like, I saw people tweeting, "Oh man, it's bad. He's done. He's done." Dude got his feet on the cage, flipped over, got up nicely. I mean, just the little things he was doing. Took some big punches. He got hit a couple times. Walked through him. I mean, when the fight first started, he got hit with a good punch. Walked right through it. Yeah, he was coming on, dude. I mean, he was going to win this fight. I mean, he was starting to take over. I'm I'm still impressed. I was impressed. Now the knee, I think his excuse is bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, he knew that was illegal. He tried to say he was trying to time it. He thought he was going to come up and he was timing it. Maybe that's true. Still dumb as shit. You can't throw that. So yeah, he should have been disqualified. I get it. I knew he was going to be disqualified. I thought Tay and Dan just way overplayed it though. He was running around like, if he can't continue, you're done. I mean, he was like hot. I mean, the dude literally didn't try to keep any kind of like reasonability about him. I mean, he was just losing. You're disqualified if he can't continue, just screaming and shit. So just the whole situation, you could tell, and rightfully so. Motherfuckers hate Greg Hardy, like up and down. Motherfuckers hate Greg Hardy.
Yeah, don't expect to get a fair shake if you're Greg Hardy.
Exactly. That's it. That's my exact point. You could tell fucking the referee wasn't going to give him any fucking leeway whatsoever. People hate Greg Hardy, rightfully so. I can't argue with that. The guy's good, man. That guy can fight. I don't agree with Dana with about half of the fucking shit he says, but he's right. That dude's a fighter. That dude got cracked a couple times, walked through him. Like I said, the in-fight adjustments, I mean, you could see him just getting better as that fight went on. That dude's for real. He's going to still be there. Props to Crowder, though. That guy stepped up and took the fight and shit, man. And dude was in it. I mean, he was throwing down, but Hardy was taking over, man. Imagine that guy gets his takedown defense a little bit better and shit, and just, I mean, learns how to throw punches. But there's just so much, more that Hardy can just learn by the day, dude. That guy's going to be really good. And all the idiots out there, I don't see how you don't look at that and think that guy's going to be good. I saw so many people say that they looked at that and knew that he's going to be shit now. I don't get that whatsoever. That guy's going to be good. Very good.
Okay, that was pretty lengthy. Wes, or Nushan rather, give us your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, I don't have too much more. I mean, there's been fighters that have 5 to 10 times more fucking fights than Greg Hardy, and they've done dumb shit like this. Sometimes it's wild. Yeah. Like you're in a fight, you've been punched in the head. Sometimes you do some stupid shit. I don't know what Greg Hardy was thinking, but whatever. It is what it is. He hasn't had many fights, and shit happens. And yeah, I'm totally cool with everybody saying he's dog shit. That works for me. Hopefully they bet lots of money against him in his next fight.
Right. Main event.
Give me a nice cheap price on him.
Main event, and this one definitely went differently than I think we all thought it was going to. Henry Cejudo, 32 seconds, TKOs TJ Dillashaw to retain his flyweight belt, and in a situation now where you have a bantamweight champion who just got starched by the flyweight champion. Wes, this does not look good for the UFC, does it?
Yeah, and with the weight class and limbo and stuff, and I mean, Cejudo came out was saying Dana told me that if I win though that I'm going to say, Dana's like, I never said that. So it's just a whole shit show with that. But as far as the fight, man, one thing is just abundantly clear now. TJ made that weight probably with ease. Like, I really think he did, even though he kind of looked bad and shit. He made it with pretty much ease. It doesn't matter, man. You cannot take punches to the head when you cut that much weight. I think we've seen it over and over and over now. Even if you make the weight fairly easy and get on weight and everything, this shit just, it takes the fucking moisture, I think, out of your head, out of your body, and you can't take punches. You just can't do it, man. We saw it there. I mean, the first fucking thing that landed, dude. I mean, he was hurt. I think the stoppage might have been a little bit early, but I don't think the ending was going to be any different. I think TJ was probably going to get finished there. And props to Cejudo, man. The guy's really, really good, man. I think the only guy I I don't think he beat DJ, but I think DJ's the best little fighter that's probably ever been. So there's nothing wrong with that. But Cejudo is, man, he's really fucking good, man. I'd like to see that fight kind of in the middle, personally. Maybe not up at 35, but 30, you'll never see that. But some kind of in the middle. But, man, TJ, he had, wouldn't say massive chin issues in the past, but slight chin issues. Man, that cutting that weight ain't good. I think it showed up there big time. So, and man, going forward, I don't know. Talking about maybe Cejudo, if they do away with the division, Cejudo moving up and fighting him at 35. I'd like to see that. I'm down with that. I'd hope they keep the division though for a little bit longer. I guess there's still some intriguing fights down there, but who knows, man? They'd rather have 115-pound chicks running around going 15 minutes of fucking laying on each other than keep a 125 division that's fairly entertaining. So,
all right, Nushan, what are your thoughts on this title fight?
Surprised as hell.
Yeah.
In Cejudo's last 10 fights, he only has 2 finishes, and they definitely weren't like this.
Dry brain.
He definitely has boxing skills, but man, he just caught TJ on a good spot, and like Wes said, that chin just gets worse and worse every pound he takes off to get to flyweight. And he's also coming off I guess he didn't get dropped in the second Garbrandt fight, but he's definitely got dropped a couple times.
He got hit. He got
hit, and he got dropped in the fight before that. So it's starting to accumulate. Dillashaw isn't young. He's in his early 30s. Oh yeah, he's 32, almost 33. Those chin issues, we know how they go.
That weight class too, the lighter weights, that age catches up with you a lot quicker too, man.
Yeah.
You start losing that speed.
Yep, we've definitely seen that before. So, it's a tough situation now because what are they going to do? Cejudo's going to fight. Dillashaw, you kind of have to do the Cejudo-Dillashaw fight at bantamweight because Dillashaw is going to go back to bantamweight off a loss and fight the winner of Moraes Hooking a Sunsao? It's kind of weird. You kind of have to do it. I don't want them to do it. I'd rather see Moraes, hopefully, if he gets the win, fight for the belt, but I think that's kind of what they're going to do. It's kind of a weird situation when the smaller guy wins and beats the bigger guy, and the bigger guy has to go back to his weight class with his belt off a loss.
They put some divisions behind by doing these fights.
It's going to be on hold anyway. And that bantamweight division has been on hold way too much. They did a rematch with Garbrandt, which was completely unwarranted. And then now they do this Dillashaw versus Cejudo fight, and now put it on hold again. And now they're probably going to have to do the rematch, and that's going to put it on hold again. Fucking annoying, man.
I think you have to almost do this rematch.
They've put themselves in that situation.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a shit show down there now, and what's sad is they have some of the most exciting fighters down there, those lower weight classes, which really sucks.
Yep. What are your thoughts, Jay?
It's a weird situation. I think you have to have Cejudo get an opportunity to try to win the belt again. I think that's probably the best fight to make. If they really want to get rid of the division, that's the way to do it. I don't know the
plan.
Yeah, but there's definitely something there about cutting too much weight and definitely taking out some of your ability to take a punch. Definitely seen it too many times for it not to be something. Anyway, let's move on to the second UFC card of the year. We head down to the home of mixed martial arts, Brazil, the home of jiu-jitsu, for Fortaleza for what I think is a really compelling digital fight card. First fight up is return of Magomed Bibulatov taking on another newcomer. There's a bunch of newcomers on this particular fight card that were on the Brazilian Dana White Contender Series episode earlier in 2018. This one is Rogerio Bontorin. Wes, I'll let you start.
Yeah, haven't looked a lot at the Brazilian guy yet, but going just some thoughts on the fight. I haven't locked in any bets on this. I know Bibliotov might be in some parlays for some people, but I'd be a little cautious here, man. After him getting starched like he did, and then he's been off a year and a half. I'm going to look into the Brazilian a little bit more over the next day. Don't know if I'll bet him, but thinking about maybe picking him in Top Master, man. He's almost a 4-1 dog here, and man, this card's down in Brazil, and like I said, Bibliotov just, man, you really want to stay away from guys that's coming off knockout losses like that in a year and a half layoff. Layoffs that long after knockouts like that aren't bad things necessarily. Take a little time off, get your head right, but still. So it's a pass on a bet right now for me, but I'm going to look at this Brazilian a little bit more over the next day.
All right, Nushan.
Yeah, this fight just screams pass for me. Bibliotov was a pretty hyped guy coming into the UFC. Got a okay win in his first fight, and then got KO'd by John Moraga. We as a pretty big favorite too. I didn't see that coming. Now he's been out for a while. I don't know if there's a reasoning behind that. Not a bad idea when you get KO'd like that, especially when it was his first loss of his career. But that layoff it's kind of a happy medium. Either it's good that you're not rushing back in there when you get KO'd, but you also want to get back in there so you don't get too much ring rust. Hopefully he doesn't get caught again as a minus 470 favorite, but I'm going to pick him. He definitely has some good skills, but just a bunch of things that I don't like seeing that I wouldn't want to lay that juice.
Okay, I got Bontorin a B, D plus, D as in David, and Bibliotov C plus. From what I've seen of Bontorin, he prefers to strike on the counter, but he's rather slow on the feet, not enough volume. He does his best work on the mat, but takedowns are going to be a struggle for him, especially in this fight. Bibliotov, really well-rounded, good takedown defense. Really an impressive array of striking. Much higher volume from Bibliotov, way more creativity, way more variety. I think it's a mismatch. I know Bibliotov lost to John Moraga. That was a tough loss for him. Got cracked in that fight. Bontorin doesn't have that in his wheelhouse. Doesn't have that kind of power, and neither does he have Moraga's boxing skill set. I think Bibliotov is probably going to destroy most fighters outside of the top, 20 in the flyweight division. Bontorin is certainly not that. He's going to run away with this fight and win pretty easily. Next bout up, we have a really compelling bantamweight matchup between Nurmagomedov, Said Nurmagomedov, taking on friend of the MMA Analysis, Ricardo Ramos. Wes, I'll let you start with this one. This is a really good bantamweight matchup.
Yeah, I think these are two fairly well-matched young guys in the division. Nurmagomedov got a decent win last time out against the biggest choker all time in the history of MMA. So
Wes's favorite guy to bet on.
Yeah, you got to take a little bit off of that win, I think, just for that fact, man. I just a lot of this I think comes down to is I think Ramos is a little bit better on the mat here. Might cancel each other out, man. I think he's got a little bit better hands. This fight being in Brazil, I think that's going to be usually it always is, but these younger Brazilians on this card, man, I think that's going to be a little bit advantage for them, especially if we always say it. I know it's not as bad as the cards up in Canada nowadays, but Brazilians still a little love on the cards down in Brazil. I kind of lean Ramos little ball areas and Nurmagomedov. So, at the current line, I took a little shot on Ramos here down in Brazil. I think he can. I think he can get a pretty decent unanimous decision on the card. So I think this definitely goes to the cards, though. Both these guys pretty evenly matched. So, I took a shot on Ramos.
All right. New Sean.
I think this is kind of a bad matchup for Nurmagomedov. Like Wes, I think Ramos is a better striker, and if Nurmagomedov goes for some takedowns, you got to deal with that guard, and Ramos has some decent subs off his back, and he's got a good sweep game, so it's kind of a tough thing. I guess he could try just stifling it, like the better Nurmagomedov does, but that's a tough thing to do against a guy with as good a guard as Ramos. Like Wes, I think it's going to go to the decision, and I think Ramos is going to take it not easily, but fairly easily. I think he's just going to edge most of the rounds with his better striking.
Yeah, it's hard for me to go against a fighter with an Medov at the end of his name, but I'm actually going to do it here. I got Ramos a C, Nurmagomedov a C-. Ramos, more UFC experience. I think he's definitely a better striker, and the grappling is definitely interesting as well. I like Ramos' length in this fight, fighting in his home country. I'm going to take Ramos as well, and that's our consensus bet this week is Ricardo Ramos. I know,
cash it
early. Regret this going against Medov, but Ramos is what price, New Sean? Is it minus 115, minus 120?
You can get it anywhere between minus 107 and minus 120.
All right, there you go. Ricardo Ramos is our consensus bet. I think we're going to skip the next fight. It was just recently added. I don't think anyone's been able to review these guys yet. Two debutants, Geraldo. I'm going to call him Geraldo. Dave Freitas Jr. And Felipe Colarias. We'll skip that one. I know we do want to talk about the heavyweight matchup, though. We got a Suriname Jairzinho. Rosick, he got a little Brazilian nickname. Everybody's favorite Depends. Junior Albini.
The diaper baby.
Back. The diaper baby. Wes, we'll start with you.
Personally, I don't think Albini's some world beater. I don't think he's absolute
diaper baby.
I don't think he's like diaper shit either. So, this dude he's fighting though, man, he's not great, dude. Like at all. I think this line is a little bit off, man. It is heavyweights, dude. So you never know, but. Man, Albini really should win this fight, dude. So, I took a little shot on Albini here. I believe it's minus 115 or something like that. So, he should get a win in Brazil here, man. This guy he's fighting is really, really bad. I mean, he was on fucking Risen a couple back, going to split decisions and shit. Albini should win this fight.
All right, New Sean, give us some thoughts here on Diaper Baby.
This is an interesting matchup. I think the Diaper Baby is not that good. The guy he's fighting is worse. But these are low level heavyweights. One I think is lower, and that's the guy from, where is he from? The Sudan? No,
Suriname.
Not the Sudan.
I mean, he's
this got fatties written all over it.
It's a Dutch background.
Oh shit!
But I don't get how he has a Brazilian nickname. So what do I know?
Yeah, it's interesting. Fatties is minus 125 for the over 1.5. it's not a bad look. I mean, this guy, he's looking pretty muscly. He's probably going to get tired if he doesn't finish Albini right away.
It's going to get sloppy.
It's going to get sloppy and gross, and I just don't want my money anywhere near low-level heavyweights. I think the variance that happens in those type of fights is big. So I'm steering clear of it. Maybe take a shot at the old fatties for some action.
A little pate.
Oh yeah.
I don't blame you. I got Rosenstruik D-, Albini D+. I spent a good amount of time reviewing Rosenstruik as much as I could, and he's definitely, he's better on the feet. I mean, he hits pretty hard like most heavyweights do. He uses a good amount of leg kicks, which I guess isn't that surprising coming from a Dutch territory. Kickboxing is kind of the chosen combat sport in those areas. But when he was taken down, he had zero ability to get back to his feet. He's kind of stuck there. He kind of only goes in one. It's like driving a car, and you can only drive in one level. I mean, there's no shifting. I mean, that's what he is. Albini definitely has. I know people make fun of him because he had the diaper thing, and he lost to Arlovsky, but. I mean, this is a guy that knocked out Timmy Johnson. There is some variety to his game. Can kick, can punch. Surprisingly decent maneuverability for a big guy. The cage, can try for a takedown. I mean, he's just a more well-rounded fighter, and you're getting him at even odds against a guy who's fought 6 times in his career against low-level competition, hasn't beaten anybody of value. I mean, you have to bet this. I'll take Albini. I think he's one of the better bets on the card, given the odds and just kind of given the experience gap. I think the UFC's hoping they kind of get like a Francis Ngannou effect, where they kind of get this unknown guy with hits fairly hard to do something, and they can kind of run with it. But that's the narrative they want, but I don't see them getting it. Albini for the win and a bet. Next fight up, we got Mara Romero Barella and Talia Santos. I don't know if you guys want to talk about that one at all.
Hell yeah, Jay.
Oh, Wes, I'll go with you. And Sean, I assume I know what you're doing.
Yeah, I don't give a shit too much about this fight. I'm probably gonna take the dog and Toutmaster. That's it.
Okay, that's nice.
Let's move.
All right. Sean.
So, but before the Dana White Contender Series fight that Taylor Santos had, her previous 2 opponents, their record now is a combined 0-11.
Nice!
0-11. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Or any of their... I don't... Never mind. I had a joke.
All you need to know is that is beyond fucking terrible. That's what we're dealing with. Yeah, I took the over. I put in a parlay. I got it at -215. I have to play that. These girls are trash, and it's going to be a terrible fight. And I need to be paid to watch it, so I put it in a parlay.
I have no problem with that. That's fair. Anyway. Let me just pull up my grades again. I don't even have a grade for Santos yet, so there's just too many new fighters on this card. I got Barella as C. Just a little bit under series. Barella's just a lot more physically strong, and I think that's, I know she had mixed results in the UFC. I do like her in this fight. I think, but it's at this level of women's MMA, it's hard to bet anything, even at a dog. Let's just pass and move on. Talking about what should be a really entertaining fight, and probably one of the most entertaining fights on the card. We got Thiago Alves fighting in his native Brazil, taking on Max Payne Griffin. Wes, we're going to see violence.
Yeah, this fight should be pretty fun. it's pretty crazy that still at like 35 and all the miles, man, that Pitbull is still running around, dude, fighting some pretty tough guys, man. I mean, his last 2 fights has been just against 2 just massive punchers, man, just some really good dudes. I mean, him standing there with Kershenko for 3 rounds, his last time out was, I know it wasn't really close, but man, that's a little bit impressive. Max Griffin should win this fight, but man, I just have a feeling that if Alves can stay around with Kershenko like that, he's gonna stay around with Max Griffin for a couple rounds. And man, if Griffin starts to get tired from trying to finish him and stuff, it wouldn't surprise me, man, at all. So. I'm not going to bet Thiago Alves here, but I'm sure as hell not betting Max Griffin. I might pick Alves in Top Master. It's still a coin flip to me, but I just don't see how you could lay juice on Max Griffin down in Brazil against a guy that's still, man, the dude stays in fights, man, and it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't put it past me. So yeah, pass on a bet here.
All right, new Sean.
Yeah, before the odds came out, I was kind of eyeing Griffin to bet in this fight, just kind of more of a fade of Alves, and Max Griffin is pretty decent. But I thought this line it's kind of too high for me to take Griffin. Like Wes said, Alves can still take it. He took 3 rounds against Kershenko. That wasn't an overly damaging fight, but. Yeah. He was able to stay in there. Melender, he took a lot of shit before he got finished there. So I don't think Alves is completely done to the point where you can just kind of fade him and he's just going to get rolled. And that's a bit of a worry against Max Griffin if he goes for the finish and gasses. Max Griffin is looked pretty decent lately, and losing to Melender in a stand-up fight isn't terrible. And Eliezer Dushku, I think he's a decent fighter. I think he wins. It's just I can't really trust him in the minus 200 range.
Fine. I got Alves a D+, Max Griffin a C-. Both guys, can certainly throw. I just think Griffin is more durable at this point, and I just think he's going to keep coming against Alves, who I just don't think has the output that he once did. So I think Max Griffin wins this fight, and I think the odds on him are probably justified, even where this fight is taking place. Not a bet for me, given the current price. Now we got a prelim main event. I guess they're all on ESPN Plus, but sure. Marcus Perez taking on Anthony Hernandez. Wes, your thoughts?
Yeah, I actually think Hernandez might not be too bad, but I haven't seen enough, and I honestly think this line is probably about dead on. So I think Hernandez is just a little bit better, but man, Perez is tough, man, and he stays in fights. He's gone. He went 3 with Sanchez on top of him. He's gone 3 with Anders. So I think it's kind of like the last fight that I think Hernandez should win this fight, but Perez down in Brazil, if he stays around, this is probably the biggest fight of Hernandez's career. Gets him hurt, maybe goes for a finish, gets tired. You never know, man. So Perez being as tough as he is, it's going to be a pass on a bet. I do think Hernandez should win here, though. I think he's got some talent, and we'll know a little bit more about him after this fight.
Who's Sean?
I don't really have a good angle on this fight. Not a good read or anything like that. I'm curious on how Hernandez performs after getting that 40-second knockout on the Contender Series. That was a decent while ago. That was in June, so he's had a decent layoff since then. So I side with him. He definitely has shown some skill in those fights and in his LFA fights. But Perez is decent as well. tough guy, and like Wes said, maybe he survives something, and then Hernandez gets tired. So it's more of a stay away fight. I'll see how these guys do, and then maybe I can make a play on their next fight.
I got Hernandez a D, Perez a D plus. I think, from what I've seen of Perez, I think he's just kind of like a bit of a hulking fighter. I mean, he kind of got a bad rap in his bout with Eric Anders, but I feel most guys, are not great against. He did survive in that fight, and that shows a lot. Hernandez hasn't fought much, 6 fights. Good win on the Contender Series, shows pretty good hands. So I think this should be a entertaining fight to say the least. But I think there's honestly a bit of unknowns on both sides, and this is definitely one I think you want to watch and learn. Up to the main card, we got another women's fight.
Oh hell yeah!
Oh, we got Sarah Frota. Good old Post Malone face taking on Olivia Renata Souza, former Invicta champion. I gotta say, I don't get the odds on this one. Hint, hint, Wes.
Yeah, I really have. I'll leave this up to Sean.
I know he's got something in mind.
Yeah, he does.
There's only one way you're going to bet, so can you be any more predictable?
Hey, you don't. When I get overs, it's plus money. Over 2.5 is plus money.
Woo!
With some,
shit.
Or it was when I last looked. Let's see. It is.
God damn, he probably got
over 2.5. It's plus 110. I don't put anything big on it just because these are completely unknowns, but. These girls get finishes when they're fighting just like stay-at-home moms and just like part-time fighters. I have to take a shot at that point. Souza got a sub on Alex Chambers. That was everybody knew that was going to happen. I didn't because, of course, I bet the over, but that was too juicy. So maybe I'll get burnt twice by Souza. I guess we'll see. I think it's worth it at the price it's at. So I got a 1-unit shot, and I got a shitty number. I got minus 120, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't even screw around with that stuff. I got Frota a D plus, Souza a C. Frota's got a really good left hand, some decent pop, but she tires after a few minutes, and her takedown defense is dreadful. Yes, she can threaten for submissions on the ground, but she doesn't have the gas tank to compete with a fighter like Souza, who's really kind of a tank of a fighter. Really good, pretty good. I shouldn't say really good. I should say pretty good grappling. Just physically imposing. It's just a nightmare matchup for Frota, given Souza's skill set. I think she's going to get taken down at will, and she's going to get dominated. Souza, at her current price, is somewhere in the minus 220, minus 230 range. I think that's pretty easy money. I have to be honest with you.
Laying the juice on a chick fight. Get it, Jake.
She should win, but man, that's some juice.
Yeah, she's going to win. And I'm not exactly sure what to do with it yet, but I like to combine it with something else. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe. But we'll see. But that's a good piece. Maybe it can maybe even multi-sport it. Let's move on. Johnny Walker, drink, taking on Justin Ledet. Not a drink. Wes.
Yeah, man, I used to be a little bit more high on Ledet when he kind of came in.
We all were.
Yeah, I still think he's a good out for a younger up and comer dude that I think is Johnny Walker at this point. And I mean, I know the two guys he fought ain't something to write home about, but first couple wins in the UFC were decent wins, and I just think this fight it turns into more kind of a grinding fight against the cage. Ledet, that's one of his weaknesses, man. He doesn't use his feet good enough. He's a great boxer. He's got really good hands. If that was the kind of fight that this fight turned into, I would be a little bit more worried. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Walker's going to be the much bigger guy here. He's going to be the taller, longer guy, and I think he can work him over in that clinch and stuff. So I like Johnny Walker here, man, especially down in Brazil. Like I said earlier, I think that's going to play a part. All these young fighters on this card, being in that crowd's gonna make a difference. So I like him here. I think the line is really nice for a parlay piece, and I haven't put him with anything yet, but we'll definitely have him in a parlay with something.
All right, new Sean.
I think the number on Johnny Walker is a bit too elevated because of his last fight. I know he knocked out Khalil Roundtree and just kind of came out of nowhere, and that was a nice win, but I don't know if that shows exactly what his skill set is. I know he's got power. He's got a shit ton of finishes. And Ledet is definitely going to have to weather that storm early if he has any chance of winning. I do think Walker wins. I threw a dart on Ledet by decision at plus 485 for half a unit. I think if Ledet can survive, we don't really know what Walker's going to have. If he can keep it in the middle of the octagon and box, I think Ledet can be right there. If he like Wes said, if Walker can put him against the fence, then it's going to be a lot worse for Justin Ledet. I'm leaning towards it. He can hopefully stay off the cage and make it just a boxing match. The pick's Walker, but had to take a shot at a big number on Ledet by decision.
Yeah, we'll know about Walker after this fight because he's no pushover. That dude's pretty good.
I got Walker a D+, Ledet a D. I just think Ledet is a pretty decent. I look at him as kind of a point fighter in the heavyweight division. A point. Yep. He fights like a boxer, a point fighter. Yep. Walker has more explosion. Definitely the more likely finisher. That's why I think he's going to win. I mean, he was impressed in his debut. Don't want to get crazy, and that's why I'm not going to bet it. There's always, such as there's first fight jitters, there's second fight blues, and sometimes prove to me what you did in the first fight happens in the second, and once you do that twice, you can start believing in you and having faith. I'm not there yet, but I'll take Walker to win. Fight card gets really good in these last four fights. We got David Tamer, really good prospect. I guess it's not really a prospect anymore. He's kind of proven. Taking on friend of the MMA Analysis, Charles Dubra Oliveira, trying to the UFC all-time submission leader returning to his native Brazil. He's not even 30 years old. I shouldn't say that. Is he 30 now?
No.
No, not yet. He is shit. He's not.
He's a young
9.
Just
29. Yeah, just turned 29. Unbelievable. What is his career record nowadays? I mean, it's
25-8.
That's pretty good, isn't it? Yeah, 3 fights in a row, 4 of his last 5, all by submissions. 5 wins, 6 wins. Last 6 wins in the UFC are by submission. Okay. We know what that means. I think the last win he didn't have by submission was over Jeremy Stevens. That's going back a ways. So, all right, Wes, you're up. Thoughts here? Angle.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man. The Bronx submission record. Dude's pretty much, he's becoming kind of a legend, man. I still go back and kind of laugh at all the hate that this dude got a few years ago, man. The whole, esophagus thing, and he was a quitter and all this, and guy just continued to win, man. Snatch fucking necks. I mean, there's very few people that's had, that choke like Do Bronx in this game. He's in a tough fight here, man. David Tamer is the real. That kid is really fucking good, man. I mean, we've watched him get better and better. I mean, his last mean, the Lentz win, for what it's worth, I mean, he's tough, but I mean, the close win and the Benata win are very good wins. But I got to talk about this fight kind of, two perspectives, because I did bet Do Bronx, but I bet Do Bronx when it was around the opener and at plus 165, and that line's completely gone the other way now. So I probably wouldn't play Do Bronx here with a lot of juice, because I think it's close, man. I think Oliveira wins down in Brazil, finds another way to get some kind of sub, but I really like David Tamer, man, and I wouldn't put it past him winning this fight whatsoever. The bet was made on a nice dog odds on Chucky Olives, but man, at juice, I don't know if I could do that. Pick is still going to be Oliveira down in Brazil, but I liked him as a bet a whole lot more at plus 165.
Nishon.
Yeah, I'm in the same situation as Wes. I was able to get plus 170 right around the opener. Obviously, I only got like $100 down, so nothing crazy. But at those odds, I had to take Do Bronx. I think it's a close fight. It's hard to go against Do Bronx early from what he's been doing. He just gets people. He's got a pretty good wrestling game for a Brazilian, that's for sure. He's been able to take down some other more accomplished wrestlers. And Tamer's going to have to watch out early.
Yep.
And, I mean, it's crazy because, I mean, Do Bronx has fought a lot of veteran guys, and they know what to expect, and they still can't stop it. So Tamer's a bit of a younger guy. I mean, I guess he's the same age as Do Bronx. I mean, he's only
young in the fight game.
Yeah, he's only had 9 career MMA fights, so he's a
little wild too, man. He's a young wild guy too, which
he's gonna have to use his movement a lot early and his jab to keep Do Bronx away, because early in fights, Do Bronx is a motherfucker, and he might just snatch up another sub. If he doesn't get it early, Do Bronx, he has got better at striking, and I know a lot of people hate on him for not being able to take punches and stuff like that, but I mean, he took some shit from Felder before he got finished. He took some shit before Pettis before he got finished, and same with Lamas. So I think he's getting better at taking damage, but it's still there. So if Tamer can survive, I think the fight is his to take over because of his really good striking game. But Do Bronx early is terrifying. So I think it's a coin flip fight. I'll pick Do Bronx, and obviously the bet was on him at plus 170.
Jay, Toronto sold Giovinco to a damn team in Saudi Arabia.
Well, I saw that. I don't know. I mean, I think he was going to be out of contract, so it's kind of like an Anthony Davis situation.
Yeah.
Not as bad, because I guess it was more like trying to think of an equitable situation. Not even a Paul. I guess more of a Kawhi.
Yeah.
And they got a lot out of him too. But Giovinco is going to be gone end of the year, and they just wanted to get some money in. I know they're planning to bring in a new. They're supposed to bring in a new designated player. Aren't
they leaving too?
I've not heard that.
Yeah, I think he's going to be leaving too. I think they're just rebuilding completely.
Well, they're paying him like $5 million a year, so they got to do something at some point. We'll see who they bring in. They got money. They're one of the teams in MLS that definitely spends. So let's see what they do. Sucks for Canada, but I don't know. At least in that sport, Nushan, you got options. I mean, hockey, you got options. Baseball, basketball, you got no options. It's just like a one-man show.
Yeah, I mean, there's out on the West Coast, there's a lot of people that are fans of the Mariners and stuff like that. But Blue Jays are my team, and same with the Raptors. I'm cool with that.
Sounds like a total yawn. Where was I at the grades? I got both these guys a B-. I find this to be a really compelling fight. Very tough to call. Obviously, Do Bronx, he wins by submission. That's what he does. One of his last 6 wins have been by submission. I don't think he's winning a decision from Tamer. He's not outstriking him. Not a chance. And if he gets him to the ground and holds him, I think he's going to win and get the submission. I don't see him holding him and not submitting him. Let's put it that way. So I'm going to go with the submission because it's kind of – he's just a tough fighter to game plan for. It's kind of like Brian Ortega in that regard where unless you're really special, you're going to be able to figure out a way to avoid the submission. But DuBronx is just really gifted, and against a guy who hasn't seen anything like that before, I think it's going to be tough to deny. So I think DuBronx gets it done with submission. That would be the way I would play this if I was going to play it. But honestly, this is a coin flip to me. 3 fights to go. We got the return of Damian Maia. Gotta wonder how many fights this guy's got left, taking on American Lyman Good. Really weird matchup, but not the first time Maia's been given a really weird opponent. Hint, hint. Remember that guy, Yakovlev?
That was a one-sided domination.
All right, Wes, thoughts there?
Yeah, you're right about this. This is kind of a weird fight for Maia down in Brazil. I mean, Good coming off a loss and a win, and a win over a
ghost.
Smoke. Yeah, I mean, the ghost of fucking rubber guard. But I mean, Maia should win here, man. You're getting a decent line on Damian Maia, in all honesty, down in Brazil, but I mean, goddamn, Lyman Good's gonna just be juiced to the fucking gills, man. And he's just gonna be just so much more massive than Maia. Man, Maia is taking a beating over the past year. And I mean, I'm talking fucking beatings, man, over the past couple years, dude. So 41 years old, the beatings he's taken, I can't trust him here. I mean, I can't put my money on him. He should win. He's better than Lyman Good still at this point, in my opinion. But dude, just after those 3 fights he's had back to back to back, I just when's the train coming in? I mean, it's going to hit eventually. Is this the time? I mean, you're going to have a massive dude out there throwing bombs on him, so it could happen. I don't want to put my money on it, so probably going to pick Maia here in Top Master. It's in Brazil. I think he can, get this to the mat and kind of play that game. But man, fuck, I can't trust him at this point.
Sean.
This is definitely a scary one. Like Wes said, Lyman Good, juice to the gills, throwing hammers. Hopefully they don't catch Maia. This is a big step down from the trio of guys that he just lost to. Yeah. But like Wes said, he took a decent amount of damage in that fight. He is 41. The skill difference is big here, and I think if Maia gets down, he can dominate. And with a big guy like Lyman Good, if he can't land a bomb and he gets taken down, he's going to get tired and gassy. I put Damian Maia in just a 1-unit parlay. Nothing big because I am a bit scared of the damage and the age and stuff like that. I did also throw a dart, a half-unit play on him by decision at plus 315. Lyman Good has decent decent sub defense when he has been taken down. Maia has just laid on guys and just dominated them before, so I think there's a chance of that, and I think he wins a decision.
Ooh.
Yeah, I got Good at minus. Maia B. Maia's got to be one of the hardest fighters to grade at this point because
who knows?
He either looks really amazing or he's going to be exposed because he can't get this fighter to the ground. I think Good's going to be kind of tough to take down, but he just finds ways, and it's brutal. It's a really odd matchup, and I don't understand why they're doing it, other than to make maybe Maia look. But is this really the guy you want him to look like to do that against? You got to be scared. I mean, I think at Top Master you kind of just take the shot with
I mean, let me just see the price. I mean,
it's getting lower. It's like
it's not
plus,
plus
150.
It's not worth it.
It's
It's really not. Oh, it's ugly.
That's why this whole fight's just kind of like.
I think you just run away. I'm going to run away. I don't trust my grades. I don't trust this fight. So to me, it's a pass. Let's move on. Not even worth talking about more. 2 fights to go. Both really good. 2 really good ones. What could have been on a televised card anywhere. Jose Aldo Jr. fighting on a digital platform. Pretty exciting. Taking on Renato Moicano, who's been surging up this division after he just obliterated Cub Johnson in his last bout. All right. Wes, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Moicano, man. I think the kid's really skilled. He's been climbing the ladder. I think he was beating Ortega, like most people did, up until the point that they weren't anymore. So he's been on a really good run, but man, he's still fighting fucking Jose Aldo Jr. here, and Aldo is still only lost to I think probably the best featherweight that's ever been, and got called by Conor. I mean that's it. I mean, he smoked Jeremy Stephens. That was just very, very impressive last time out. I mean, when's the last time somebody just destroyed Jeremy Stephens like that? I mean, that was vintage Aldo. I think this is going to be a really tough fight for Moicano at this stage. Is he ready for it? Maybe he is. I don't think Aldo's totally past it like everybody thinks he is. I think he kind of proved that last time. Kind of proved that he's just fighting the best guy that's ever been in that division his past 2 times out. And I mean, bookended by those max fights were absolute stunning performances against Frankie Edgar and Jeremy Stephens. I mean, can you really say the guy's completely lost it? I don't think so. And then the line, I mean, Aldo's a dog here again. I mean, I had to take it, man. I took some plus 140 a couple weeks ago. I put some more on plus 105 a couple days ago. I mean, it's a close fight. There's a lot of variables in this fight. Of course, young guy, older vet. Do you think Aldo's done? Personally, I don't think he's that done. I think it's a really big fight for Moicano, really tough spot. So give me some dog money and give me a reason to root for one of my favorite fighters ever even more.
Mm-hmm. You, Sean?
I rewatched the Stephens fight not too long ago, and fuck me, was I impressed with Aldo. His body work, his combinations, his head movement on defense was very on point in that fight. It was awesome to watch. I actually got to watch it in person, but holy shit, on replay on TV, it's even better, I think. Moicano's a guy that I kind of underestimate. I think, continually. He's a guy with skills. And I don't know where that sub came against Cub Swanson. That was a bit perplexing. He seems like more of a, I know he had like some subs earlier in his career and stuff like that, but he seems like more just a volume guy. And he, like Wes said, he's the younger fighter. I am kicking myself for not taking Aldo when it was like plus 150 there for a while. Another big thing in this fight is it's a 3-round fight, and I think that is a very big deal to a guy like Aldo. In 5-round fights, he really has to pace himself, and in 3-round fights, it seems like he doesn't, by the way that he came out against Stephens. I don't know if that was just like a one-time deal, or if that's just kind of how he's going to fight in 3-round fights, because when he throws hammers like that, it's terrifying, his weapons that he has. So I give the edge to Aldo. the abuse that he has taken in those two Holloway's fights is definitely still on my mind. If this fight kind of takes a bit longer to go, like goes a bit longer. But if Aldo, if that number keeps going up, if it reaches plus 130, I'm gonna have to fire a shot on Aldo just because of he still looks good, and until he looks done against somebody not named
when he's younger, yeah,
I'm gonna just assume that he's still there.
Okay. I got Aldo an A, Moicano an A. This is a really compelling matchup. Both guys are more than adequate strikers. Obviously, Aldo, one of the better strikers that's ever existed in this sport. Moicano, really good in that regard. He's really big for this division as well. Aldo obviously I think has more variety, but how much, what's Aldo's durability at this point? One, and is this a case where, is kind of the younger, Lion kind of passing up the older guard? It's kind of a crossroads fight and where each is, and I'm on the fence on who wins this. Bettors have certainly, I think liked Moicano here, but it's tough. Man, I don't want to even give an opinion on this fight. I really don't.
Come on, Brazilian versus Brazilian, Jay. Come on now, you gotta take a side.
His wife's going to stand.
I'm gonna gun to head. I'm gonna say Moicano.
Ooh.
I don't, like I said, it's really tough. I just think he's been kind of on a really good run, and I think they're trying to set Moicano up as the next guy, and use Aldo as the bait. As crazy as that sounds, but let's move on to a fight I'm a little more confident in. The main event, we got a rematch of what was a split decision win for Rafael Assunção. As he takes on Marlon Moraes, again, who's been on the best form of his career. Wes, let's go.
Yeah, this is another really good fight, a really meaningful fight, and one of the best divisions in the sport, in my personal opinion. These guys just fought a couple years ago. It was Moraes' UFC debut, so that was a pretty big deal for him, coming from maybe the third or fourth organization in the world. So it was a pretty big deal for him. I thought he showed fairly well in that fight. I think you could have argued both sides. It was a really close fight. But since then, Moraes has been one of the best fighters on the planet, in my opinion. The levels this guy has gone up since that fight. It's just insane to me. The wins, the two stoppages against Sterling, who's after that gone on a run himself. The Jimmy Rivera stoppage. To me, this comes down to a guy, Assunção, that's getting up in age. We know once you hit that mid-30s mark and stuff down here at these weight classes, you start losing that speed and stuff, which is so important down here. Moraes is just peaking at the right time, man. I think the guy's putting it all together. He trains with some of the best fighters in the world. He's got massive power for a guy at 135. Over 5 rounds, I think this plays out more for Moraes. Assunção starts to slow in fights. Moraes looks better as the fight goes on. So I really like Moraes here. I've been on the Moraes train for quite a while now. Picked him, bet him in every single fight of his. Have bet him quite a few times in World Series of Fighting. I like Assunção too. I'm a big Assunção fan. I think this is a bad matchup for him, and Moraes is he's on that track, man. I really wanted to see him and TJ, man. I still think that at 135 that Moraes is the biggest challenge for TJ there, and would just be an amazing fight. Might be the best two technical strikers in this sport going at it. It would just be insane. I'd really love to see it fight, but as far as this one, yeah, I love Moraes here. I don't really get the Sun Sao money coming in. I guess say I can get a Sun Sao at 2-1 against somebody. You gotta take it, but man, I think they're starting to get value on Moraes here, even at minus 165. I really like him in this fight. I think he can get a late stoppage in this fight. I think Sun Sao will slow in the later rounds, and Moraes will just get he stays technical. He'll keep throwing those straight punches, and I think he gets him with something late. So I like Moraes by stoppage in this fight.
All right, Nushan.
Yeah, I don't get this line. I don't get the line movement, just like Wes. That their first fight was close. I think I gave it to Moraes. It was kind of a coin flip fight. And one of these guys has, in my opinion, got a lot better since then. That was also Moraes' first fight in the UFC. Probably had UFC jitters. And the Sun Sao is now 35 years old. And this fight is 5 rounds compared to 3, which I don't think favors the Sun Sao. Moraes has been in 5-round fights when he was fighting for World Series and the other main events that he's been in. A Sun Sao I don't think has ever been in one. Actually, back in WC maybe? I don't know. I guess he... none of his decisions have went longer than 3 rounds. So I definitely think that favors Moraes. He's more... He throws more volume. I think he's just a cleaner striker that the 5 rounds suits him a lot more. I think he gets it done, and like Wes, I think he gets a finish in the 4th round after an accumulation of damage. Moraes is peaking right now. A Sun Sao's kind of been there for a long time, but I just don't see the progression I see from Marlon Moraes. He is really fucking good. I got 2 units. One for in each parlay. I closed up one of the chick overs and the Maya, and so I got plus 126 on the one and plus 145 on the other. If he keeps coming down, I'm gonna have to add to it because it's like minus 160, minus 165 now. That's I think that's crazy. Just kind of what we've seen happen since their first fight and all the other factors that I explained there. This should be closer to a minus 200, minus 220 line, in my opinion.
I have Sun Sao A minus, Moraes A plus. I'm with both these guys. I think the Moraes is really improved. I mean, he's finished a few really capable fighters now in his last few fights. I think he picked up the volume against the Sun Sao in their last bout. Sun Sao is kind of a tricky fighter to face because Sun Sao does really well on the counter and really forces fighters to kind of fight him as opposed to him fighting them, looking for his space. But I think Moraes has learned a lot from that bout. I think there's more to gain for him in this bout. So I think there's a lot of opportunity here for Moraes to get this done. I think the 5-round fight also plays into his cards. I think that's a good opportunity against an older fighter and a Sun Sao for Moraes to take advantage and to get the victory. I don't think it's going to be easy, but it's there's a distinct advantage or a few distinct advantages for him, and over the course of 5 rounds, he should be able to win at least 3 of them. So I'm going to say Moraes wins as well. This line has dipped a bit in the last week.
Make consensus.
If it gets to minus 50, I'll be making a bet. So it hasn't gotten to minus 150 yet, but I do like it. And that just about does it for this week's edition of the MMA Analysis. I know we had a pretty long episode this week. I guess we'll be back next week with reviewing this fight card, which should be a good one. And then we got pay-per-view coming in Australia. That should be a doozy.
That's a bit of a rough card. Hopefully, the two top fights stay intact.
It's a pay-per-view. How many good fights do you need? I mean, that's what people pay for. Stylebender Anderson, and then a middleweight clash for the title should be a doozy. Let's see what happens. Until then, enjoy the fights, and we'll be back again as always.